Young athletes put it all on the line: body, spirit, and mind. With a peek inside athletes' brains, the orthopedic and sports medicine experts at Trinity Health System can easily show that to every champion, health matters.
Football's the hot topic nowadays. There's no, perfect scenario where there's a helmet or a mouthpiece or anything like that that can prevent it. The only really good research is that neck strengthening actually helps it. And you do see that a lot with impacts, people button heads and whatnot. Soccer's also very high on the list with, all sorts of knee to the head or they repetitive small trauma with heading the ball. Those all kind of lead to concussion symptoms and signs.
I tell people to imagine a piece of Jell-O, and if you watch it hit the table in slow motion, it's going to expand out and come back together and wiggle around a little bit. And so essentially that's what your brain is doing inside of your skull whenever you have one of these really bad traumas, and it stretches the neuron, it bends them, it twists them, and then they just don't function appropriately for some period of time afterwards. It's very similar to an injury like your ankle. When it hurts, you have to avoid making it hurt more. And so one of the biggest tells of a concussion is that when you do something, whether it's mental activity or physical activity, you get an increase in your symptoms. And so it's good to do a little bit, but if you meet your threshold where you start to have symptoms like a worsening headache or blurry vision or upset stomach or anything like that, you need to back off because that means you're doing too much.
Some people walk in and they have the base, they're better in a week, see you later, we don't have to do anything. It kind of self-resolves. But up to 80% get better in 3 weeks. That leaves 20% that really don't get better. So after about 2 or 3 weeks, when we can kind of tell after we've treated so many of these that you're kind of heading the expected path, or you're really not. We need to figure out what to do with you. We have some really great tools here from a rehabilitative standpoint that we don't have to send you to Cleveland or Pittsburgh or anything. In-house, we have some great rehabilitation tools and experts that can kind of walk you through how to get better. If you sustain a concussion, we talk about a return to play, return to school, return to work. All those things are dependent on the job and the person and the symptoms and where they're at in their care. But in Ohio, they instituted a law, and there's many states that have this as well, where you have to return to play after 5 consecutive days of activity, of graduated activity. So day one is just like, hey, let's just chill out, let's get you better once you're really symptom free, and then as you kind of progress, you use some sport specific drills. Then you go for a full practice. Once you've kind of cleared those 5 steps, you're good to go.
One other real big important thing is to stay out of contact activities. You don't want to hit your head again, and that's a big important part of recovery because there's a lot of risks that go along with that that are very, very dangerous. They're rare, but they're dangerous. So yeah, definitely don't want to hit your head again. Avoiding the lights, avoiding the triggers, if you will. School can do it. A lot of times for the kids that have the eye manifestations that come from concussion, they get issues from looking far away and focusing on the board and then coming back to their desk and then board and desk and back and forth. That can really cause some issues. The average time that it takes somebody to recover is about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. It may be sooner than that they stop complaining of symptoms. It may take a little longer, but the important thing is you treat the individual athlete, and whenever they say that they're feeling better, and we believe them and we've put them through all our testing to the best that we can, then that's when we deem that it's safe to go back.
The orthopedic and sports medicine experts at Trinity Health System will be back next week with part 2 on concussions, including baseline testing and how to keep your kids safe. So stay tuned, stay sharp, and stay on the field.